Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we are here with Marcus Dent, a guy that Marcus, I think I can call you my friend now. We've been talking for quite a long time. So, man, thanks for joining us today on Inside the Sooner Family.
Man, no problem, man. Glad to be here.
My hope in this is to learn a little bit more about the perspective from the family on, the whole recruiting process going into the university, the maturation and letting, your loved ones go and be entrusted into a coaching staff. So this is a fun conversation because everybody's got a different story. And man, I know that you guys you had some thinking to do during your recruiting process.
We did. I did a lot of research, on Oklahoma football. I went all the way back to Burt Dunn, who was one of the original guys on the 1895 team. He's from Clinton, Mississippi.
Wow.
And I went back that far. So,
Right.
Just doing my job as a parent, making sure that this was a place of where he could grow, not just on the football field, but just socially and different things. Because Isaiah's a different type kid. You kind of know the story with him. He likes to hunt, he likes to fish.
Yeah.
Outside of that, man, it's pretty much that's it. And he's just a well-reserved kid, man. So when we got to the point, where okay, this thing is getting real. Because we didn't know that at first. His ninth grade year, I was coaching at a private school, and he was playing, and it was one of those things. Okay, he's a big kid. He was about maybe 6'4", maybe 245, 250, and me as a dad, I was trying to get him to be a little bit meaner because, like I say, he was a humble kid, and just that that destroyer wasn't in him, not at that time. So I had the famous idea of putting him on defense, so he could get a little bit tougher or whatever, and he did. And we was in a game, and Isaiah comes to the sideline, and I got the headsets on, and man, he's tears coming down his eyes, and he blowing, and I'm like, boy, what is wrong with you? And he wouldn't talk to me. And finally, I like, look, you got to get your butt back in the game. I don't know what's going on, but you need to find a solution, and like right now. And I looked up in the stands, and I could see my wife standing up with her hands on her hips, like, what's going on? And 2 plays later, I look up, and Isaiah has this kid about 20 yards down the field, and he's shaking the life out of him. I'm like, what in the hell is going on with him? So he comes back to the sideline, and man, his flags going everywhere. And a little bit about me, I refereed for about 10 years. And I knew the guy who was the head guy. I was like, hey man, look, hey, just let me talk to him. Don't kick him out the game, whatever you do. And so he come over to the sideline. It was a big kid, one of their best kids he had on the ground, And I looked at him, I said, buddy, you just messed up. He's like, what's going on? I said, no. I said, right there, what I saw is what I want to see every play. And from that moment, from that day, it's like the light clicked on, like I can do it. And, it wasn't me pushing him or his mom pushing him. He found it himself. Once he found that gear, then, man, we would say, okay, look, we got something here. And that's kind of, I think 2 weeks after that, I sent that clip to Ole Miss, and they offered him.
Cooking with grease at that point.
It was a fun journey, man, starting out.
Well, let's so you talked about going way back, so let's go way back. The first question I always ask everybody is, when you have an athletic kid, as parents, sometimes you see the next Michael Orr, kind of a lot of reflective from that story, or you see the next Tom Brady, the next Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. What time did at what point did you look at him and go, I think we got ourselves a little bit more than just a recreational athlete?
Like the story I was just telling you kind of connects to the next story.
Mm-hmm.
After that year, we left the private school. We went to the North State Championship and we lost. But it was a game, man, that was like our team was full of sophomores and maybe a couple of juniors. But that loss, he took that loss like I had never seen before. It hurt him on the inside. It didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hurt him because you know, um, you know, we got beat. It hurt him because he felt like he could have done more, and
Yeah.
he wanted to win. And when I saw that in him, in that drive, that will, that wanting to be, um, you know, on top and hating to lose, he hates to lose. And I said to myself, I told my wife when we got back home that night, me and coaches, of course, they went on back to the house, and me and a couple of coaches, we stayed at the field house, and coach looked at me and he said, "Man, did you see Isaiah? Well, after the game?" I said, "Yeah, I saw him." I said, "He's pretty emotional." He said, "Man, that's not regular emotion. That's wanting to be at the next level and wanting to be great at what you do." So that was probably the time that I said, hey, look, I know we got something because it's on the inside. I mean, he had the physical, he was growing into that, but that's when I really saw it.
That's awesome. And if you're just now joining us, or you hopped in, Marcus and I kind of hopped in fast, but a lot of people don't know that Marcus, you are the father of Isaiah Autry-Dent, freshman offensive tackle, and this is a guy who comes from a pretty cool pedigree. So, do you mind sharing a little bit about what you do and the talent evaluation that you do on the side, and then also his mom has got a pretty cool story too.
Yeah, mom does. I work for the U.S. Army All-American game as a scout for them. I've been scouting for them roughly for a few years now. On the other side, when the company was owned by Football University, now they are split off and back to the Army All-American game. So
Mm-hmm.
this spring I came back on with them, and I run football camps and different things, on the side. Um, just trying to help kids, man, the best way we can. There's so many kids in the South that
Yeah.
don't get that opportunity, so we try to provide that opportunity for these kids to actually get a chance to go somewhere. Kind of like Texas, Mississippi has a large number of JUCOs, so
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm not gonna say it's easy. You got to play, you got to be a dog, but yet still is we do what we can to try to help kids get out. And as for my wife, my wife coaches basketball. She played at the University of Tennessee, 2 national championships, ABL championships. I think that was a little bit before the WNBA, and I think she won an 18U gold medal as well. So she's a lot of the reason, for Isaiah, just doing what he's doing and keeping him grounded because she comes from that. And also, her first cousin is Marcus Dupree, which Sooner guy, you're a Sooner
Yeah,
fan,
everybody
you
knows
know
who
exactly who
Marcus
Marcus
is.
Dupree is.
And so she also played for a legendary basketball coach in Pat Summit. So I mean, you
Yes.
guys have been around some winning, and you've also been around a lot of different stories, so you can point towards different stuff when you're having these conversations with Isaiah. Correct?
Yeah, we do, and I come from a background. I played in the SWAC back in the late '80s, early '90s. Where there was a lot of guys. I played with 2 first-round draft picks, and John Theory and Steve McNair. So I came from a background when it was tough. It was brutal back then, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot harder than what these kids got now. But Isaiah has heard the story from Pat and different things, from his mom about Pat and how strict she was or how tough she was. And she lays the same thing on him. I give you a little story. We had a game that was moved to a Thursday, and my wife would say coaches basketball, so she had a game. So it was like late October or something like that. And she called me because she was on her way because they got out early. And as soon as the game was over, she come on. And she called me and she's like, "How we doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, we up by 30." She's, "How's Isaiah doing?" I said, "Well," I said, "we winning." I said, "But he's not playing, as well as he should be." And I think a couple of scouts or something had came down that weekend. I mean that Thursday, and that's about a 15-minute drive from where she was and where she's getting there. About 10 minutes, I see the truck whoop around. She comes in, they're going in at halftime. So I'm like, man, where is she going? So she gets out the car, or gets out the truck. She goes to the locker room. She's like, "I need to see Isaiah." They're like, "Is anything wrong?" She said, "No, yeah, there's something wrong. He playing like so and so, so and so. If y'all don't snatch him up, I'm gonna snatch him up." And the coach was like, "What? We up by 30." It doesn't matter. You go out and you play to the best of your ability, whether you up by 30 or you down by 30. You play to your maximum. And that's her. I mean, she takes nothing less than that from him. So, with his demeanor being kind of quiet, a lot of coaches, when they found out we were going to OU, they know Coach Bedenbaugh. Coach Bedenbaugh is the best, and he's tough. He's a tough guy. So, but at the same time, you got to understand that he understands toughness because that's what he get at home with us.
It's
So
I mean,
the coaches were kind of like, I have never seen a parent come in the locker room, we up 30, want to snatch their child up because he's not playing well. I've never seen that before. I said, well, this is a Pat Summitt disciple, and that's kind of how she was raised.
Yeah,
So after that day, we didn't have no problem with Isaiah taking off or anything like that, man. He was on point after that.
I think you kind of touched on it already, but when you see him, developing, and what you got, and that you've got somebody who is going to, have some greatness that's within grasp. So, at what point did you think, maybe I might want to foster this and push him a little bit harder, or was that kind of just from the get?
When it comes to the training, we pushed it, and we had to talk. Look, if you want to do this, we're going to help you. Now, I'm one of those guys, man. I know football, but I played tight end in college, and we had a blocking aspect to it. But my 7-on-7 team and all that stuff, I was a receiver coach, passing game coordinator, that kind of stuff. So when it came to offensive line, man, I said, what, I need to find somebody who can really, give him some tools to put in his toolbox, to be successful. So, I told him, look, if you're going to do this, we finna push it. We finna push it to the next level. And if, you're not ready for it, you better just tell us now before we start spending this money. so, we did that, man, and we pushed him in that aspect. And he got to the point where he loved it. When he saw himself getting better, he saw his footwork getting better. He saw his hand placement, his movement getting better, his overall aspect of his game getting better. Then he dove into it himself. We didn't have to wake him up and say, hey, look, you got training today. He was ready to go.
Ready to rock from get-go. So recruiting processes are always a fun story because, a lot of people, they don't even follow recruiting. Some people don't pick it up until, the senior year. When did you go, all right, it's now time we got to start cataloging what's going on, because a lot of, programs are starting to look at him?
His junior year, the summer of his junior year, when he got Florida State. And, of course, that was a big one for us. And we kind of said, oh, wait a minute, we got Florida State. We already had Mississippi, Ole Miss. I want to say UAB, maybe even Indiana or something like that, Southern Miss. But when Florida State came knocking, and they were really sincere and talking to us about, what they liked about him, and, what they think where they thought they could, take him to as a, athlete, we said, okay, look, that was it. And it wasn't long after that the season started, and then he picked up Bama. And then when he picked up Bama, it changed. Everything changed after he picked up Bama.
So when did Oklahoma throw their hat in the ring?
Man, it was kind of after the Alabama, LSU, the Oregons. It was after that. He had been talking to Coach Bedenbaugh, on text. I mean, Coach B was texting or whatever the situation on Twitter, I believe. Mm-hmm. And, Coach B wanted to see him. And at this time, a lot of people had speculated, but it wasn't the case. Marcus didn't even know he was being recruited by Oklahoma. We kind of kept it from him,
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I said, we'll make the drive to Norman. I said, man, that's a long drive. I said, we'll make that drive to Norman. I said, it seems to be Coach B he's really interested, in Isaiah, because we had sent film to him. They sent that film out to a lot of different guys, and which I had did my homework on Coach B, man. He's one of the best, in developing kids, and that's one reason why I made that drive, because we're gonna develop kids. My wife was like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, we need to go. We need to take it." She said, "Well, let's take it," and we did. We took him up there. We actually called Marcus before we left because we wanted him to kind of know that, okay, look, now we're going, we got everything kind of under the bridge, so we called him and told him, said, look, man, we're going to Oklahoma. And he was like, good, man, this, that, and the third. So something happened a week after that, we couldn't go. And kind of got dormant, I want to say it might have been after the loss to Florida State. I think the coach was kind of trying to figure out what was going on at that time. And Mark was like, hey, man, from my sources, from what I hear, they really want it. And I said, well, something, we hadn't really heard from him, again since then. And we hit Coach B up, and he answered. He's like, yeah, this weekend right here will be a perfect weekend to come. Man, we came, we loved it. We loved it. Just going there, seeing what they offered. And, had been to LSU, had been to Auburn. No knock on the programs there at all. They got great programs. But, sometimes, man, it just feel like home. And it felt like home for me and my wife at that point in time. And, and we were just going to see how he felt about it. And after we came out of the deal with the Soul Mission, and Isaiah saw that, man, that lit him up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. And he was like, okay, I like this. And we got a chance to meet Coach BV, man. He was full of energy, man. He was like a little Energizer bunny. I'm like, man, he got to be drinking Red Bulls or something, because he was just, he was energized, man. And that was the first head coach that, that I saw that had that much energy in him, just talking about the program, talking about what he wanted to invest in the kids and different things like that, man. It was amazing. And we got a chance to go in his room and go in his office, and we were sitting in there, and he was talking, different things about life. And, man, he went over there, and he got that chip, man. He got down, pretty much, I don't know if it was one knee or what, but he got that chip, and he gave it to Isaiah. His eyes lit up, man. I'm just talking about it was huge. And that was the best presentation of an offer I've ever seen in my life. And I've been around a lot of kids and got a chance to see it. And, what he did, how he presented it. And my wife she was ready to cry. she was ready to cry. She was like, oh, this is it right here. I hope he chooses this place and this right here. And Isaiah was kind of looking at her because he values his mom's opinion about everything. Yeah. Mine too, but he values, his mom has been there. She played at the highest level. I know it seems kind of ironic, but you got somebody that you see every day you call mom who has played in 2 national championships.
Yeah.
And that's who better to tell him, how to prepare yourself than her.
Yeah. 100%. I talk to a lot of recruits and, ask them to list out the things that they're looking for in a program with the background that your wife has, with the background you played football with Steve McNair. With those backgrounds, like, what were your top three things when you were looking for, all right, as a parent, these are the three things that I'm looking for in the program?
Um, Number one is stability. Just stability in the staff itself. And with Coach B at the time, I think being there maybe 11, 12 years, that showed me that, hey, man, he's going to be here. Unless something just crazy happens, he's going to be here. He had the chance to go with Lincoln Riley out to California. He's had the chance to go to the NFL. And I just think he loved being in Norman. I think he loved what he does. And when you find somebody that loves what they do, money is not the issue. It's not the issue. That was number one. Just the stability of Coach B being there for as long as he had. Number two was just the overall staff, watching how they work with each other, watching how you going down the hall, you see a coach and he fist pump the other coach. Just knowing that it's not defense, offense, special teams, receivers, DBs. It's a family, and we saw that. As parents, we saw that. And when you see things like that, those things sticks in your head, and you can't get them out of your head. And I will say the third thing was just, I watched Coach BB when he was at Clemson, and man, he put together some great defenses over the years there, and I really didn't know about his stint at Oklahoma. I really didn't know much about it until I started kind of doing my research. And we asked Isaiah, so how you feel about it? And it was kind of like I kind of like it. I mean, it wasn't a big city. It's kind of like being at home. Oklahoma's kind of like Mississippi, to be honest with you.
A lot of Texas.
So he felt home. He felt like he was at home. And, of course, everybody had him pegged to go to Ole Miss. Only 45 minutes up the road. My business partner is an Ole Miss guy. My business partner is an Ole Miss writer. And so everybody had him pegged to go to Ole Miss, man. It was – and afterwards, when I guess OU kind of got, everybody was feeling the pressure like, okay, it might be OU and, FSU and Ole Miss. Then, Ole Miss, they came in and tried to put it on pretty good, tried to sweeten the pot, make everything, a little bit better. But it was kind of like one of those deals like he was expected to go there. And nothing against the staff there, man. Lane Kiffin is a great coach. Lane Kiffin is one of the better offensive-minded guys that you got out there. I like his style of play. But it was up to Isaiah. It was his decision. So, once he said, this is it, that's what we did. We let him make that early decision. We stopped the camps. We no need to go to another camp. Matter of fact, we didn't do a whole lot of camping. We went to a few camps, but, he was already getting offers, so it wasn't any need to go out there, try to grandstand and get your star rating up or anything like that. So once you know where you want to be, that's, hey, that's the end game. You can't go to all those schools. The stars doesn't make any difference when you go to college.
You shared a story with me. We were talking about, him coming in with the, some transfers coming in, and you said we've been preparing his mindset for a long time, to go in and compete for your opportunity to maybe step in. Why did you think that, just preparing him mentally was such a key part in his development, just from his parents?
Because you have to prepare a kid mentally for this. And it's unfortunate that a lot of kids don't have that. And that's the reason why you have a lot of kids transferring out in different situations like that. But we prepared him what was coming. We told him it's gonna be tough. You're gonna want to quit. You're gonna be like, why am I doing this to my body? I say, when it comes to schoolwork, the schoolwork's going to be different than high school. We just tried to give him everything that we, could put on the table for him to eat, to absorb, to go in his mindset to say, hey, look, this is what I got to do. I share some of my experiences as as a college athlete. My wife shares some of her experiences as a college athlete. I share some of my experiences with some of my former athletes that I have come out of my program, different things. So we were just able to give him a lot of different things that can happen and that will happen, if you do the right thing and if you do the wrong thing and what your mindset has to be. Me and him have a little thing that we text every now and then, 1% better every day. 1% better every day. You get 1% better every day from the time you start, the time you finish up. That improvement will be off the chart. So, like I said, we try to prepare him mentally for what's coming. And as Coach B concerned, everybody knows Coach B is tough. That's why he wins. That's why, everybody's talking about the offensive line. I hate to get off on that, but man, don't worry about that line. Y'all worry about y'all defense line because they're going to be okay. He's proven it year after year after year with offensive lines. The time that I look back, and like I said, I'm kind of a historian. I know after Lincoln left, we changed strength and conditioning coaches. And I think that hurt the offensive line just a little bit because, he's used to, they're a machine. Smitty and Bedenbaugh, they're a machine together. What he does with those athletes works well with what Coach Bedenbaugh tries to do. And I think that little bit of frame might have hurt just a little bit. But with Smitty being back, doing what he's doing, Isaiah has went from, he was 289 or 288 from when he got there. He got up to 319. He got up to 319. I think he's back down between 310, 315. I think that's kind of what they want him at. But I'm talking about good solid weight and has gained a lot of strength, So like I said, I hate to go off on that, man, but I just like what the program is about, how they're developing the kids, and take a shout out to just the whole staff from everybody making sure these kids have what they need and just being a family, but being tough on them at the same time. That's all me and my wife wanted, and I think we got that in OU.
Definitely. And you see, we talk about the sales pitch. You've gone through with Florida State, Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and a lot of coaches, they've got their pitch, right? This is why you should come here. So Oklahoma has a pretty lofty one with the soul mission you've already mentioned. Just that 1% mentality. Let's get better. Those types of things. Have you seen that pitch actually continue to be who they are as a coaching staff and as a program?
Well, I must say this. I don't think it's a pitch. I just think that's who they are. I don't think Oklahoma has to pitch anybody. They're just genuine, a genuine program. And if you want to call being a genuine program a pitch, then I guess that is the pitch. But just being genuine is who they are. It wasn't a pitch about, we got this and we got that, we did this, we did that. And it wasn't about that. It was about straight up development. Okay, this is what we want to do with your athlete, your child. And that's what we looked at. It wasn't like, hey, you come here, you're going to do this. And, we play in the Big 12 or we're going to the SEC. That wasn't even a thing. Actually, when we was getting recruited, we didn't even know about that. That wasn't even a deal with us, But it worked out for us because a lot of the road games are 2 hours from us, an hour from us. So, it really worked out well. But it wasn't a pitch. It was pretty much just a genuine, hey, this is what we are, this is who we are, and this is what we're going to do.
You pretty much answered that exactly how I was hoping you would answer that. So you also look at, Twitter is famous during talk season, and that's kind of where we're coming to the end of is talk season. But you see the highest graded offensive lineman in the NFL and the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL, and there's a lot of Sooners there. So you as a father, how do you show that to Isaiah, but then keep that that 1% is why you end up there? What does that conversation look like when you guys sit down and talk?
Pretty much that's the goal every day. Is the 1% is the goal every day. And just we look at the guys that are in the league that Coach B has had the opportunity to coach and what they're doing. Man, if you're old lineman at OU, you can't not look at that. I mean, the conversations with Isaiah is with me and him is always one day at a time. Mm-hmm. Take one practice at a time. Take one snap at a time, and get better at that 1%. What we talked about. Yeah, he'll send me something every now and then on a snap like, hey, this guy here, he was here. He was a 3-star. He's in the NFL, and Coach B did this, and Coach B did that. Man, he thinks the world of Coach B. I mean, Coach B is the kind of guy, they'll be around goofing off, and he comes in the room and everything is quiet. Because he has that kind of respect, and they love him. They love him to death. Trust me. That one I got, he can. I shouldn't even say this, but he loves kind of like, hey, you'll never believe what Coach B said. That's look, I don't want to know, but I told Coach B myself. My wife told him, you coach him and you coach him hard. There's no such thing as, just you coach him hard. And I think his coaching style and what he has done is just, I mean, man, how can you not want to go play for him? I'm being honest with you. I mean, how can you not want to go play for the guy? If you're a wuss and you don't like getting chewed out, you better stay your ass where you at. Because, the thing about it is, Coach B gonna give it to you. He gonna give you everything, brother. So, and that's what Isaiah looks at that type of stuff, man. He looks at what he have done. The young man that's at Jacksonville, look how he developed that kid. It's just hard not to have those conversations about what Coach B has done.
100%. So, off-topic question here: If with a Coach B offensive line in front of him, can Marcus Dupree still? Do you think he could still run for 100 in a game? Does he? Because last time I saw him, man, he still looks jacked.
Yeah, he's in pretty good shape to be his age, man. He was we was in Oklahoma. It was, I forgot when it was, but he was at a gym somewhere, and they was kind of tussling around. The guy probably, I guess, 15, 20 years younger, and they was kind of just tussling around. And Marcus dipped in wrestling a little bit. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah.
Marcus did a move and got him on the ground, and the guy was like, man, what? Hey, I said, nah, man. I said, you better leave that joke alone. I said, he got some of that old strength. He can push it out for about 5 minutes. So you better leave that joke alone. But yeah, man, I would have loved to see him behind an offensive line that was taught by Coach Bedenbaugh. It would have been special, bro.
That would have been great. So you're down in Mississippi. You're down in the South. You've got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama, all these Auburn, all these teams right around you. So I'm assuming that you've got a lot of SEC cats talking to you about, man, I don't think they're ready for this smoke.
Oh yeah, every day.
What kind of talk do you punch back with?
Biggest thing is, I tell them, hey, big thing say, hey, look, we'll see when time comes. But when sometimes, you get a barbershop talk and guys you want to talk. So I had to put out, say, hey, let's look at some statistics. I say, okay. I say, y'all are Alabama, just say I got an Alabama fan or Auburn fan there. I said, who won the SEC last year? Oh, man, Alabama. I said, well, who won the Big 12? Oh, Texas. I said, well, didn't Oklahoma beat Texas? Oh, man, yeah. I said, hold on now. I said, you want to talk about the losses, but you don't want to talk about the wins. I said, we had some injuries in those two losses and one bad call that cost us. And, the Arizona game, I don't really count that, man. I mean, although we played and I think the quarterback played well, outside of the turnovers, and those are things that are correctable. Those things are real correctable. But I think he threw for over 300 yards. The fumble, come on, man. But people don't want to see that. All they want to see is, oh, y'all lost to Kansas. And, what I'm like, man, hey, it is what it is. I said, let's do this. I said, Ole Miss barely beat Texas A&M last year. I think they won by 6. I said, not Arkansas, but Missouri had to had a dogfight. I think it was against Kansas State.
Yeah,
somebody like that. I said, so
61-yard field goal.
You sitting up here talking about the SEC at this juggernaut. This is what I grew up in. I know this. I said, but when you take a team like Oklahoma and you put them where they expect to win, their standard is to win, so they're going to come in there like that. I said, let's go back to this. I said, when Missouri came into the SEC, what happened? I said, you hadn't seen that type of offense before. What happened? What are you talking about? I said, they went to the SEC championship.
Exactly.
I said, so, a lot of them don't like to talk to me, but I'm just laying facts down, everything I'm telling you is true. You can go look it up. So, those things, we get the conversation that they're not ready. And I'm like, hey, we'll see. You got to play it between the lines. I can talk all day about the Sooners. I can talk all day about the offensive line, but, it has to be played outside. And, I think, when it comes down to our record, everybody asks me, what do you think the record will be, man? How many games y'all going to win? I'm like, hey, look, some I give, somebody I think is sensible and know about football, I tell them, but some of these cats, you just you can't say anything because they think oh man, you crazy. There's no way y'all gonna win that many games. So, I just kind of leave it at that, man.
All right, so then let's talk to the sensible folks because I got the Sooners going 10-2 this year. Are you want to make a prediction?
Oh, I can. Man, I want to say between 9-3 and 10-2. And the reason why I say that is I think we'll steal a game from somebody. And I know we are leaps and bounds from where we were last year. But, sometimes, being on the road can be hard in the SEC if you've never played in it. And I think one of those games could get by us. A couple of those games could get by us. So I want to say 9-3, 10-2. I know the Ole Miss game would be tough, but I think it's not as glaring place to play as Jordan Hare or Death Valley. So I think personally, I think they can steal the Ole Miss game. I really do, because it's just not. It's not, the atmosphere there is not like the other two.
Definitely. Well, hey, Coach Dent, man, I love you, man. You're like you're like another uncle in the family for me already, and so, man, I appreciate you hopping up. And so, if you guys are watching this video and you've enjoyed this is the third interview that I've done. Coach Dent is actually the one who was like, hey, man, you've been talking to me about this series. When are we going to start? And so, you were excited about that. So I appreciate you pulling up.
Man,
what's the game like? If you circled one game on the calendar this year, what's the one that you're most excited for?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
That's an in-house deal, man. Yeah, that's an in-house deal, man. Mom want to beat Tennessee bad. I want to beat Tennessee bad, and we all know as football guys, football talking heads, that's going to be the game that kind of start us on the road. We'll be on a little, I'm not going to say cruise control because you got to play every weekend, but that's the game that starts your SEC play. And I think that's the game that we got to win. I think we got to win that game convincingly. I don't see us, going in there bad, escaping by, because I think we got to go to Jordan Hare the next week. So we need to put something on their mind, when we get ready to go down in Alabama.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, Coach, I appreciate you pulling up today. Guys, in the comments, if you got questions, I'll be tagging Coach Dent here so he can see these comments too. But, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. We got a couple more parents who are going to be coming in because talk season's almost over. They're in fall camp. Stories are starting to come out. So, Coach, again, I appreciate you pulling up today. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for just sharing your heart about the program and, just entrusting your son to this program.
No problem. Anytime, man.
All right, check us out, Unfair Sports. And again, if you guys have this is one that I implore you to share, because this is something that I think a lot of parents would like to hear too, that this is who this program is. So again, Coop with the Unfair Sports, Marcus Dent, father of Isaiah Autry-Dent. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you later.